Good morning, everyone. In this class, we are going to discuss about file handling. It's like file concepts. Okay, so it's very important. It's very important. Just concentrate here. So coming to file concepts. Coming to file concepts. So first we need to know. So what is a file? So the file is a collection of related records. The file is a collection of related records. It contains fields and records. So fields is nothing but columns here. So here you can observe student ID, name, marks, total marks, and percentage. So this is called fields. So whatever the rows it is present, 100, 101, and 102. So this we are going to call it as records. So here, coming to COBOL, so we have prepared one layout. So this is called layout. Student mark sheet, student ID, pick 9 of 3, name, pick A of 10, so 9 of 3, 9 of 3. So this is called layout. So whenever you are going to create a file or we are going to use a file, so the layout is mandatory. So based on our file, we are going to prepare the layout. So this is called layout. So what is file? So the file is a collection of related records. So it contains fields and records. Either you can call it as columns and rows also. Okay, columns and rows. So the columns we are going to call it as fields. So how many fields are there here? So there are 5 fields out there. So how many records were present? So 3 records were present. Okay. So the 3 records were present. Next, coming to file types. We have mainly 2 types of files available in our COBOL. Okay. So one is sequential file and second one is indexed file. So what is sequential here? Sequential is nothing but if you want to read record, okay, if you want to read the records at 102, so it's like a third record. So we need to read from one by one. So sequential file will read the records from one by one. Suppose if you assume there are 100 records is available, 101, 102, 103. Okay, it's like 1110. So in this case, if you want to read this 110 record, okay, in this record, so what we need to do? So you need to read first this one, okay, first this one, next 102, next 103, next 104. At last, you need to read this one. So it's like sequential. Sequential is nothing but it's like it will follow top to bottom approach. Top to bottom approach. Okay. Coming to indexed files. Okay. Coming to indexed files. So I know the index. Suppose the index is 103. So no need to read one by one. Directly you can go to the key, and based on key we can fetch it. Based on key we are going to read the record. So that is called index based. Okay, index based or index files. Okay, so based on key we are fetching the records, so that is called index files. If we are reading one by one, that is called sequential files. Okay, so 90% we are going to use sequential files. There are some scenarios we are going to use vsem files. So the indexed files we are going to call it as vsem. So the sequential files we are going to call it as flat files or non-vsem files. Okay. The next one is, so how we are going to know whether it is sequential or indexed in our program. So by seeing the organization, we can get to know whether it is a sequential file or indexed file. See here, so organization is sequential. Here, if you observe, organization is indexed. Based on this organization, we'll get to know it is a sequential file or indexed file. This is very, very important. Okay. Next, the important thing is, so if you want to process a file, so what is a file processing life cycle? Okay. File processing life cycle. So in order to read a file from your COBOL program, or you want to write some data into another file, we need to follow file processing life cycle. So the file concepts, that means, so we need to remember file processing life cycle. So whenever you are going to process any file, you have to remember these 4 steps. Okay, you have to remember these 4 steps. So first one, file declaration and definition. So the second one is file open. The third one is file processing and file close. See here, so without declaration or defining a file, we are not able to open. And without opening a file, we are not able to process. But without processing, we can close it. But these two steps are very, very important. File declaration and definition and file open. So if we do these 2 steps, then only we can perform file processing. Okay, we'll see one by one what is declaration and definition, and how to open a file, and how to process a file, and how to close. So file declaration and definition can be done in an environment division under input output section. And file definition can be done using under data division under file section. If you see this diagram, so you will get to know. Just observe here. Environment division under input output section, we have declared one file. So what is the file name? Select file 1, assign to disk 1. Okay. So file 1 is the file name. So here we are going to call it as file 1 is, we are going to call it as logical file. So whatever it is assigned to another file name. So here it is a disk 1. We are going to call it as physical file name. Just observe here. So whatever we are going to use it in our program, file 1, that is called logical file name. The right side assigned to disk 1. Okay. So this is physical file name. Where this physical file will get? Okay. We can get it from JCL. We'll get it from JCL or outside of the COBOL program. So that's why we are going to call it as physical file name. So whatever the operations we are performing in our program by using this file, we are going to call it as logical file name. So this is called file declaration. Where we are declaring the file? We are declaring the file in environment division under input output section under file control. So this is the first step, file declaration. And we need to define a file, like how many records were there. So what is the layout of the file? Okay. So the file definition can be done in data division under file section. So this is very, very important. So file declaration can be done in environment division under input output section under file control. Next, file definition can be done in data division under file section. Okay. File declaration is done. So then what is the next step? So after declaring or defining the file, we need to open a file. We need to open a file. So what is the command if you want to open a file? So there is a keyword is open, open file name. Then after opening a file, what we are going to do? So we are going to process the file, whether we need to read or write. So processing is nothing but read or write. And finally, we are going to close the file. Finally, we are going to close the file. So these 4 steps are mandatory if you want to perform any file operations. One is file declaration and definition. Next one is file open, file processing, and file close. File close. Next, if you observe these keywords, okay, so it's like similar to English keywords only. Open, read, write, rewrite, delete, close. Okay, these are the keywords we are going to use it in our file concepts. How to open a file? How to open a file? In order to open a file, so there is a keyword open, and in which mode you want to open a file, whether it is an input mode or output mode or extend mode or IO mode, and file name. So what is input? What is input here? What is output? What is extend? Just observe here. So we have a two files. So one is input and one is output. Okay, one is input and one is output. So in order to open a files, we need to use the keyword open. I'll write it here. We have two files. One is input file. So that is called student file. Next one is output file. This is the name itself, out file is there. Okay, output file. So in order to open these two files, the command is open. So the mode is input mode. So here you need to mention student. So here itself you are telling like, okay, this is the input file. Student is the input file. Okay. If you want to open output file, open output. So what is the output file name? Out file. Okay. Out file. So now we are telling, hey Cobal, student is the input file. Out file is output file. Okay. Out file is output file here. So this is how we can open the files. So there are 4 modes we have in COBOL. One is input. If the file is already existing and if you want to use it, we are going to use input keyword. And you want to write it or you want to create another output file, we are going to use output mode. And what is extend here? So extend is nothing but if there are already output file is there are 100 records or 1000 records, it's already available, it's already present. So you want to add, so I don't want to delete these 1000 records. I want to append or add extra records. We are going to use extend mode. So the name itself, it is there, extend mode. Okay, so how many types of file modes we have available? So one is input, output, and extend and IO. So this is also very, very important interview question. Just observe here. File modes. So these are all called file modes. So when we are going to use input mode, this we are going to use it for input files. If you want to read an existing file, this we are going to use it for output files. So if you want to create any new file, okay, we are going to use it. What is extend here? Extend is like if you want to append the data or concatenate the data for a file, we are going to use extend mode. What is IO? Either you can use the file for input purpose or output purpose. Input or output purpose. We are going to use it. Okay. These are the file modes. But mostly we are going to use input and output. In rare cases, we can see extend and IO. Okay. So these are the file open modes. And in order to open a file, we have a keyword open, the input file mode and file name we are going to give. So this is a we can open. Next, what is the read keyword? What is the read? So the name itself it is there. Read. So read is a keyword or COBOL verb. If you want to read the data from a file, we are going to use read keyword. Write. It's like write is a keyword. If you want to create an output file and you want to place the data into output file, we are going to use write keyword. Write the data into out file. So if you want to, in order to read a file, just observe here. So what is the syntax? We need to follow? Read, file name, attend and not attend, and end read. Okay. Suppose I want to read a file, read student file, read, end read. So in between, we need to write at the end. Next keyword is not at end. So what is this? At the end and not at end. Okay. Just observe here. So I have some records 101, 102, 103. Okay. I have 3 records in a student file. I want to read these 3 records. So read student file. So first what it will do, it will read 101. So automatically it will go to not at end position. Okay, not at end position because we have a records in file. Okay, we have a records. You can assume this is our student file. In the student file, we have 3 records. If you read student. So first record it will read 101. So that means not at 10. So here we are going to perform. Our business logics. Okay. So again, second time it will read 102. It will come in an not attend. Here also we are going to perform some business like either it is going to write it into another file or going to display in some other records, whatever it is. So we are going to read it as next record is 103. In that time also it will come to not attend. Okay, good. After this 103, we don't have any records. We don't have any records. Read student. Now it will go to at end position. At end position. This at end, what we are going to do? We are going to set one indicator. We are going to set one indicator. So based on this indicator, based on this indicator, based on this indicator, we are going to stop. We are going to stop. We are going to stop the process. We are going to stop the process. Because, so no need to read, right? Okay. After completion of 3 records, no need to read. I mean, no need to perform these statements. So that's why we are going to set one indicator here. So whenever it is at end, just come out of this process. Just come out of this process. If it is not at end, process all the records. Okay, process all the records. So whenever you are going to read, okay, these 4 lines or 5 lines, it's a mandatory. Read, file name, attend, not attend, end read. If we perform read operation, always it will go to not attend if you find any records. If there is no records in our file, I mean, after reading all the records, it will go to attend. It will go to attend. Okay. Next, coming to write keyword. If you want to write, in order to write a file, write dataset or record layout. So this is a syntax. For read, read student, attend and not attend and end read. For write, so there is only one line. There is only one line. Write dataset layout. That's it. Okay. So what it will do? So whatever the data it is there in this layout, directly it is going to write it into your output file. Your output file. So this is the example. Okay. Anyway, example we are going to see later. So this is a write keyword. Write record buffer. Okay. So this is our way. Either you can write it in write or no need to write. So that is no worries. And rewrite. So anyway, so rewrite and delete. Most of the cases we don't use, but in which case we are going to use rewrite. Rewrite. So the name itself it is there. So if the records were already present, we are going to use rewrite. Okay. So whenever you have opened the file, in extend mode, we are going to use rewrite. So what is rewrite? So rewrite mainly we are going to use it for append the data or concatenate the data. If the file is opened in a extend mode, we are going to use rewrite. Next, delete. So delete is a keyword. If you want to delete a record, If you want to delete, if you want to delete a record, we are going to use delete keyword here. We're going to use delete keyword. So after performing all the operations like read, write, rewrite or delete, okay, rewrite or delete. So finally we are going to close the file, close the files. So what is the syntax for closing? What is the syntax for closing? Close file name, that's it. So how many files if you opened, or if you have used for input or output, finally we are going to close those files. So this is the syntax, close file name, close file name. Okay, so just revise for a session, listen carefully. So file processing life cycle is very, very important. So the life cycle is very, very important. So here, what is the first step? So the first step is file declaration and definition. So this is the first step. Next one is file open. The third one is file processing. Fourth one is file close. It's very simple. So file declaration and definition can be done in environment division. So file declaration can be done in environment division and definition can be done in data division. Just observe carefully. File declaration can be done in environment division. The definition can be done in data division. See, file declaration, environment division, under input output section, under file control. So what is the syntax? If you want to declare a file, select file name, assign to physical file name. Organization is sequential. So that means we are using sequential file. So this is called file declaration. Next, file definition. File definition can be done in data division under file section. So here we are going to use FD file 1. So whatever we have declared the file 1, FD file 1. Okay. Here we are going to define the layout. Okay. First 3 bytes for a student number. Next 20 bytes for student name. Next 7 bytes for gender. So filler is nothing but spaces here. Filler is nothing but spaces, 50 spaces. So what is the length of this file now? Okay. Just calculate here. 50, 57, okay. 80. Okay. Totally it is 80. 80 is the length. Just observe. File declaration can be done in environment division under input output section, file control, and file definition can be done in data division under file section. So this is very, very important. So that's why I have written environment division and data division both. So file declaration can be done in environment, definition can be done in data division. Okay, fine. In order to open a file, what is the syntax? Open, either it is the input mode or output mode or extend mode, whatever it is, and the file name here. And the file name. So this can be done in procedure division. See, only this one. Only declaration and definition can be done in environment and data division. Rest of the process, file open, and file processing and file close can be done in procedure division. Procedure division. Next, what is processing? Processing is nothing but read or write or rewrite. Okay, this is called processing. This is called processing. This also can be done in procedure division only. Procedure division only. Procedure division only. Next, after performing all the operations, we are going to close the file. Close the file. So is it mandatory to close the file? No, it's not a mandatory. Okay, it's not a mandatory. But recommendation is after performing all the operations, we are going to close the file. We are going to close the file. So file declaration and definition and file open and file processing and file close. These 4 steps are very, very important. And whatever the class notes, which I have explained, okay. So this is also very, very important. Okay. So these are the keywords: open, read, write, rewrite, close. So in order to read a file, so the syntax is read, file name, attend, not attend, and end read. If it is attend, we are going to set an indicator. Based on this, we are going to stop the process. Not attend, we are performing some business logics. So this is about theory class. Okay, this is about theory. Let's try to implement one practical program so that you will get one clear picture on that. Okay. Now go to Google, type COBOL online compiler, go to jdoodle.com. This is our compiler. This is our compiler. Okay, this is our compiler. Now, in order to get a program, just go to Google. Take one sample program. COBOL read file examples or sample code. Okay, COBOL read files. Just open this one. So here you can see there is one program. Okay, there is one program. Just copy this content. So no need to write line by line. No need to write line by line. So it's not copying. Okay, fine. So delete this one and copy paste it here. Then we need to reformat it. Okay, then we need to reformat it. So how many divisions we have in our COBOL? There are 4 divisions: identification division, environment division, data division, procedure division. Okay, fine. After this, so where we are going to declare our file, environment division will come from one by one. Okay, environment division under input output section, under file control, This is how we are going to declare file. This is how we are going to declare a file. So what is the file name? Select student assigned to. So here we are not using any JCL. Okay, I will tell you how to upload the file, and how to read it. what is this input.txt? So input.txt is the physical file name. So here, what is the first step? So file declaration and definition. So the declaration and definition can be done in environment division as well as data division. Just concentrate on only these two parts, okay? These two parts. So environment division under input output section under file control. So in order to declare a file, select student assigned to input.txt. So this is our physical file name. So I'll tell you how to create a physical file name. Okay. So organization is sequential. So that means, so this is a sequential file. So we are going to read the records one by one. So the declaration part is done. Next, what is a file definition? Okay. So how many records you want to place it in your file? So I want to place only student ID and name. I want to place only student ID and name. So that is the reason I have kept only student ID and name here. So student ID is 5 bytes. After that, name is 25 bytes. So totally 30 is the file size. 30. See, just observe here. So after declaring a file, select student assigned to input. So the same thing, the student only. So the physical file name only we need to, the logical file name only we need to give it here. FD, file definition, student. Okay. So this is a file layout. This is the file layout. Suppose if you want to change it, so you want to add email also, or you want to add phone number. Okay. Email. You can add it here. Email, pick X of 20. So we want to add phone number 05 phone pick 9 of 10. So this is how we can add. We can increase the layout. So this is called layout. This is called student file layout. Student file layout. Next. If you want to declare, you can declare working storage variables. Otherwise, it's not required. So this is an indicator. Okay, WS end of the file. EOF means, okay. I'll tell you what is the use of EOF. So here they have written everything in procedure division itself. Okay, procedure division itself. So now we are going to reformat it here. So declaration part is done. Declaration and definition. So what is the next process? File open. Okay. File open. Para. Okay. File open. This is for file open. Next. File process. So I'm going to create 3 separate paragraphs so that we can easily understand. Next. File close. File close. Okay. So in order to open a file, what is the command? Open. Either it is an input file. So what is the input file? Student. Then remove this line. So input is done. Okay. So in order to close the file, what is the syntax? Just close student. Close student. Okay, this part also clear. So now file declaration and definition, file open is done, and file close also done. So now only pending is file processing. So in order to in order to perform a file, you want to read the data. So what we need to do? So there is a keyword. There is a keyword read, read, student, read student, attend, attend. What we need to do? If it is not attend, okay, not attend. So what we need to do? So finally, we are going to close it as end read, end read. So this is a syntax. This is a syntax for reading a file. Read file name, attend, not attend, okay, end read. So if it is not attend, if it is not attend, create one paragraph, 500, 500, display data, display data, or move data, 500, move data, move data. Just create another para, 500, move data, move data. So here we are going to write the logic in this move data paragraph. Okay, move data paragraph. So this logic we are going to build it later. Just observe here. Just observe here. So what is the first step we need to do? Declaration. Declaration can be done in environment division. Okay. The definition can be done in data division. So declaration and definition is over. Next, file open. So I have created one paragraph for file open. The same paragraph, we are going to call it in procedure division. Perform 100 para, 100 file open. Okay, perform 100 file open. So how we will get to know whether it is opened or not? Just keep on display. Okay, we are in 100 file open. Okay, after opening a file, we have process para. Anyway, I'm going to call it as perform 300 file close. So if we run our program, what will happen? Okay, it will open the files and it will close it. We are not going to process this paragraph. So that's why in between, we need to place 200 file process, 200 file process. So what it will do? So first it will perform 100 paragraph. Next it will go to 200 paragraph. Finally it will go to 300 paragraph. In 200 paragraph, what we are doing? In 200 paragraph, what we are doing? Read, okay? Read, student, attend, okay? Attend we will discuss later. If it is not attend, what we are doing? Again we are performing 500 move data paragraph. So what is there in 500 move data? Okay, nothing is here. Okay, nothing is there. So here, so whatever the input it is there, whatever the input, we need to move it into working storage variables. Working storage variables. Student ID, name, email, phone. Okay. move student ID to WS student ID. Next, move name to WS name. Move phone number to WS phone. So why we are moving? Why we are moving from input to working storage variables? So in order to display what are the values it is present, we are going to move it into another variables. WS phone pick 9 of 10. Pick 9 of 10 here. See, student is a file. WS student is a another layout. So what is there in this layout? Student ID, name, phone number. So in order to print, if you want individually, you can use these individual variables. Otherwise, we can print directly also. Just you can use one display WS student. Okay, let's prepare an input file. For this one and try to execute. Okay, and try to execute. You can assume this is a student file. Student ID is for 5 bytes. Okay. Next, student name. So how many bytes? 25. Okay, 25. Okay, just keep it here. Next, what is there? Email is there. abc@gmail.com. Next, phone number. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So unfortunately, I have given extra spaces. So in order to reduce that one, based on your input file, we need to create your layout. Okay, first 5 bytes, student ID. Next name. How many bytes are there? Okay, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I want only 15. So in that case, just come to program. Instead of 25, just give 15. So this is our wish, like programmer wish. Based on your input file layout, you can change the size. You can change the size of the data. Next, how many bytes for email? 3, 6, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15. So this one also 15 only, not 20. Okay, just change it here. After this, phone number 10. Okay. But in my output, I don't want email ID. So that is the reason I didn't declare email. So I want only student ID, name, and phone number. So this is how we can prepare input data. Based on this input, we need to prepare a layout. So layout is nothing but each and every field, how many bytes it is contains. 5 bytes for name, 5 bytes for ID. Next, after 5 bytes, how many bytes for name, whether 15 or 20. Next, 10 bytes for email. Next, 10 bytes for phone number. This is how we can prepare layout. I'm going to repeat the records. Okay. 101, 2, 3, 4, 7. So instead of names, I'm going to give it as some ABC, some XYZ. John. Okay. So after this name, there were spaces. How many spaces? Whether it is 5 or 10, whatever it is. But this should be in a particular order. See, first 5 bytes will be for student ID. Next 10 bytes or 15 bytes for name. After 10 bytes for Gmail. After 10 bytes for phone number. So this we can prepare layout and data. Just save this one. What is the student input? Okay, student input. This is my file. So now instead of input, so what is my file? Student input. So we need to change the physical file name here. According to our program. If you observe here, there is one upload button. We need to upload the input file here. Just upload it here. Just upload. This is my file, student input. Upload is successful. Now we need to give this path. This is a physical file name path. Just copy paste it here. So where the file is coming? The file is coming from this path. So normally the files will come from JCL. I'll tell you later how to take the files from JCL. Now so far we are taking the file from uploads. So this is my file. Okay, this is my file because we have created one file and we have uploaded into this uploads folder. Okay, folder. So what it will do? It will take the data. Whatever it is there, and it will assign to student. So that's why we have given this layout. Student ID for 5 bytes, name for 15, email for 15, phone number for 10. Okay, up to this part is fine. So declaration and definition is done. Now, before going to process, we need to open a file. So what is the syntax for opening? Open input student. Okay. Next, after opening a file, we need to process it. So what is the syntax for process? Inside the process, there are so many actions, either read or write, whatever it is. But based on our requirement, we are going to read the file. Read, student, attend, not attend. So first what it will do, first it will read this record. First record. So that means it is not attend. There is a data. Not attend. It will go to 45th line. So what is there in 45th line? 500 move data. So there is another paragraph. Now here we are moving input data to working storage variables. Student ID to WS student ID. name to WS name, phone to WS phone. Okay. Finally, we are going to display WS student record. WS student record. Okay. Just try to execute this one. Just try to execute this one. So there is a syntax error. Okay. Unexpected not at 10. 100 file process. So either not at 10. Okay. So if it is at end, we are going to set one indicator. So what is the use of this indicator? Okay. What is the use of this indicator? I will tell you later. So just observe here. Just observe here. So what is happening? So we have declared the file. So it will come to procedure division. So if you want, I'm going to keep displays, display, program started. Okay. Program started. Next, it will go to, we are in 100 file open. Next, keep on display here. Display 200 file process. Next, I'm going to keep displays for all the paragraphs so that we can easily track it. So where it is going, okay? Where it is going. So if you want to know, how the execution is going, just keep the displays in each and every paragraph. In each and every paragraph. 500 move data. Okay. Just try to execute now. Just try to execute. See, if you observe this one, program started. So where the program started is present. Okay, where the program started is present. It is in a procedure division. Next, it will go to 100 file open. So what is there in 100 file open? We are in 100 file open. So the same thing it got displayed. Just observe here in console. Okay. Next, again, it will go back to 30th line. Next, 200 file process. Okay. It went to 200 file process. Because of this display, we are assuming, okay, we are able to identify it went to this process. Next, it will read the record. So how many records were present? So there are 5 records were present. So now it will go to not at 10. In not at 10, what is there? Perform 500 move data. So the same display, it got displayed here. Next, what is there? Display student. Before going to display student, so we are moving the values from input to output variables. Then finally, file close. Okay. Finally, it's happened for file close. This is how we can backtrack also. This is how we can backtrack. Okay. This is how we can backtrack. So now just try to execute this one. So here we have displayed only one record. Here we have displayed one record. So first program is started. File is opened and we have read the records. After reading the records, it went to close para. But my requirement is, I want to read all the records. I want to read all the records, not only one record, not only one record. So how to achieve this functionality? So you know how to read one record. So then this is very simple. This is very simple. We need to loop it. We need to loop this one. So whenever we are going to loop this one, it will read one by one. So how to loop it? How to loop it? So what we need to do? 200 file process. We need to write one condition until ws end of the file equal to y. So you know already how the loops are going to work. If the condition is fail, it will go to this para. It will go to this para. If the condition is true, it will come out of this one. It will come out of this one. So first what it will do, it will process. It will open the file. It will open the file. Now it will come to 30th line. It will check. It will check. ws end of the file equal to y. Is it y? No, because we didn't declare anything. So that means it contains spaces for the first time. Now it will come to 200 file process, read student. Either it is attend, no, it will go to not attend, and it will perform 500 move data. So what is there in 500? Just we are moving input to output and just we are displaying. So this is for first record. This is for first record. It got displayed. Okay, well and good. Again it will go to 30th line and it will check the condition. Still the condition is true? No. Again it will come to 200 file process. 200 file process. So I'll keep on display here. 200 file process. So what it will do? Read student. So we have already read one record. 10001. It's already read. So now it's going to read second record. Now it is going to read second record. Either it is attend, no, not attend. It will go to 500 move and it will move the values and it will display second value too. I mean second record also. Okay. Again it will go to 30th line. It will check whether the condition is true. No. If the condition is false, it will execute 200 file process. 200 file process. Again it will read student. So what is there in a third record? There is a data, okay, XYZ. It will read it. Either it is attend or not attend. It is not attend. It will go to 500. It will go to 500 and it will move and it will display the data. So up to when this will process. So that's why we have set one indicator. If it is at end, we are going to set one indicator y or n, whatever it is. Okay, we are going to set one indicator. The same indicator we are using in until condition. So this is very, very important. If you don't give this until, it will process only first record. If we give until condition and if you set that indicator in at end, it will process entire file. Just try to execute now. Just try to execute. If you observe here, File open is happened in one time and file close is happened for one time. But 200 file process is happened for multiple times. Why this is happened for multiple times? Because we kept it as a loop. We kept it as a loop. Okay, we kept it as a loop. So in order to display all the lines in a formatted way, just remove 200 file process display. In this case, what it will happen? So it will show in correct order. See here. Now we have read all the records. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. So why this is happened? Because of just we have set one indicator here. The same indicator we have given in until condition. We have given in until condition. So this is how we can read the file. Read the file. This is how we can read number of files. That is your wish. As of now, we have read only one file. If you want to read 5 files, you can declare 5 select statements here and 5 definitions here. And open para, just you can add file. Okay, files here and close also. And you can write separate file processing paragraphs. One is for student and one is for employee, like that. One is for employee, like that. Okay, this is how we can read the file. This is very, very important. How to read. So the 4 steps are mandatory. So whatever those 4 steps, file declaration and definition. After this declaration and definition, we have file open, next file processing, file close. This is very, very important for interview question also. Okay, that's it for today's class. If you have any questions, you can ask me now. Today's interview questions. So in yesterday's class, I did forget to mention one question. Okay, what is linkage section? What is linkage section? Next one is, what is the difference between subscript and index? Subscript and index. Next question is, what is the difference between search and search all? Search and search all. Next, what is file processing life cycle? Processing life cycle. Next one, if you want to read a file, if you want to read or write file from COBOL, what are the steps? What are the steps you need to follow? Next one is, what are the file open modes? What are the file open modes? So totally 6 questions. Four, 5 and 6. Okay. These are the interview questions for today's class.